Ah, January. Good for a lot of things. Resetting the calendar, ice skating, making resolutions, spray painting your neighbor's Wi-Fi password on the side of his house when he tries to boot you off of it. Yeah, I'll give you privacy infringement, you casual. One thing it's not good for is movie releases. I don't know what it is, but as far back as the eye can see, January has been the official cinematic dumping ground for most major studios. It's a time of low-budget horror flicks, of dime a dozen action thrillers, of nonsensical farces that call themselves comedies even though we haven't had a real comedy in close to 10 years. Ha! Never change, Ed. The most recent addition to this catalog is Primate, the tale of a group of friends who get trapped inside a vacation house with a homicidal pet chimpanzee. That is the most January film premise I've ever heard. Anyway, this is one that I went into with the lowest of expectations and the idea that I'd thoroughly enjoy it if I turned off my brain. Like that could happen. The voices won't ever shut up for 2 seconds! Sorry, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Murder Monkey. Fasten your seatbelts because this is gonna be a wild ride. So the movie centers on Lucy, the daughter of a linguist and a deaf author, because that's not at all gimmicky, as she returns to her family home in Hawaii on break from college, I assume? Whatever it was, she was gone for a long time, and now her little sister is bitter toward her. The father, now a single parent, has to go out of town for a few days, which gives the girls the perfect occasion to throw a house party. Little do they know that a specter hangs over their frivolities. The linguist mother spent her life working with a chimpanzee called Ben that she, for whatever reason, was allowed to take home to live with her. Pretty sure that violates at least 50 laws, but whatever. Wouldn't you know it, the day before the party, a rabid mongoose got into Ben's cage and bit him. A now rabid Ben escapes from his cage and sets about wreaking bloody havoc on the partygoers. Realizing that rabid animals won't touch water with a 39.5-foot pole, they rush into the home's pool. The rest of the movie is spent devising an exit strategy and waiting out the angered ape. And that does it for what can loosely be called a plot summary. So how was it? Dumb. And awesome! This movie is basically Cujo if you substitute a dog with a chimpanzee. It's definitely more enjoyable if you don't take it too seriously, or seriously at all for that matter. It's also way more violent than I foresaw. I mean, just from the elevator pitch, this sounds like the kind of thing that would be tongue-in-cheek and therefore reliant on jump scares and cheesy violence. No. This is a movie that cared about building tension as it went on, and if the music is anything to go by, the filmmakers thought this was going to be high art. Therefore, it had a few legitimately gruesome moments, and if you read IMDb reviews that say most of the violence happens off-screen, just know that it's a bald-faced lie. One thing you can say for this thing is that it did try its best. Of course, there's only so much you can do with Crazed Animal, but that's part of the fun. It looked good, at least. The animal in this B-rate slasher looked more realistic with prosthetics and puppets than CGI Caesar in a Planet of the Apes reboot that had 4.5 times the budget. So that's a plus. Incontrovertible proof that higher tech doesn't always mean better results. I mean, you could have convinced me that they trained a real chimpanzee. What a time to be alive, huh? Now the writing. I'm not going to pick it apart too much, but only because there's not a lot to pick at. You have the mandatory 10 minutes of setup that were copied from every other horror movie ever, and then the rest of it is simian scares. One scene near the end where the dad comes home and hears nothing going on is obviously unintentionally funny, and the scene where Ben knows how to use car keys is just plain ridiculous. But that's it for criticisms slash typical B-rate horror movie moments. You could argue that the filmmakers were trying to make a point about how wild animals will always be wild and they don't belong with humans and blah blah blah. They never explicitly say that though, and it's up to the audience to put the pieces together. Hold up, is this a good movie? This is a film that promised chimpanzee-charged carnage as a priority, and that is what it delivered, so I'm inclined to call it a success. A stupid, fantastic success. Dependent solely on how you view it, Primate is either the world's best schlockfest or the world's worst Oscar bait. I can't believe I'm saying this, but so far it's shaping up to be one of the better movies of the month. It's unlikely to ever see an Oscar, whatever that may be worth now. It'll leave you wary of anything with fur, that's for sure. As much as us rational humans want a catalyst for Ben to go off the rails, and the movie is happy to provide one, a comment on the official trailer reminds me of a weirdly sobering fact. The thing is, they don't need to be rabid to do this. They just need to feel like it. Point of all this being, the real reason Ben went off the deep end is revenge for being forced to wear that silly shirt.